And welcome back to the Honest to Goodness podcast, where we give you our honest opinion on good entertainment. I'm Morgan, and this is Kerri. And today's episode, we are going to be reviewing the season 9 premiere of When Calls the Heart.
Woo! Finally!
Yes! Feels like we've been waiting forever. At the same time, it doesn't feel like that long since season 8.
Yeah.
Still traumatized. Just gonna say that. But before we actually start our review, I'm going to head over to my co-host here to kind of give you guys an update on why it's been so long that we haven't been able to come back. I know the show is already almost 4 episodes deep in as of right now. And there's a reason, a very good reason. So I'm going to handing it on over to her.
All right, thank you. Well, I'm going to start off with the good part, because that's what started this off. Was Valentine's Day weekend. I went to Arkansas with some friends of mine, and we ended up at a church out there that we like. We have some friends there, and they ended up bringing in an Elvis impersonator, which was like shock. We had no clue this was going to happen. But
you don't necessarily mix a Elvis impersonator with church.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, where did this come from? Yeah. But I mean, it was really cute. It was really sweet. But anyway, so I ended up coming home from that trip with a case of COVID. So I record at my grandmother's house because I don't have Wi-Fi. So I record at her house. Well, obviously I had COVID, so I couldn't come over here to record. But I don't know, honestly, where I got that case of COVID, but everybody was teasing me that I got it from kissing Elvis, because the Elvis impersonator kissed me twice during the show. It was hilarious. Like I said,
it was on the cheek. It was on the cheek.
Yeah, it was on the cheek.
It was on the cheek.
But I have complained if it was not. Sidetrack, pull myself back, sorry. Oh my gosh. But anyway, so this everybody was teasing me that I got COVID from kissing Elvis, but that party lasted like way longer than we were expecting it to. So we started home and we were just dead tired, so we decided to spend the night in Memphis because there was no way we felt like driving however much further from Memphis home. And the couple I was with found out I had never been to Graceland. So I'm going to show.
I've always wanted to go.
The little hat I got at Graceland. Morgan is so jealous of my hat.
I am. I know you guys don't know this, but I've been a huge avid fan of Elvis Presley since I was a little kid.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I wasn't. That's the weird thing. Like I'm the old.
Yeah, exactly. You get to go and you get to go to Memphis. You get to see an Elvis impersonator. You get to see Graceland. You aren't even like an avid, huge fan of him. Like you just now started really discovering a lot of his music and everything. Yeah. So that's what's even more hilarious is that like now you've got more merch than I do and everything.
On a slightly different note, as I'm looking at my screen right here, I feel like I look like Cammy from the Hardy's Hotline right now with my red shirt and the cap going on. So shout out to Cammy.
Tammy, we're not trying to steal your branding.
Especially considering the fact this is an Elvis hat and not a When Calls the Heart hat. But anyway, I just need the big headphones. Then oh boy, we love our podcast friends. But anyway, so I got to go to Graceland. That was really fun. Like I said, I came home with a case of COVID. Finally got over that, and like something else happened right after that. And then first of this month, well, the 5th technically, but at the beginning of the month, my mother passed away unexpectedly. It was just a freak thing. The doctor said it was basically an artery burst and she just bled out. And the doctor said it wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever if she had been in the hospital when it happened. The outcome would have been the same. God started showing me different things pretty much from that day forward, that it was just her time, just different things that he had told me throughout the years that made no sense, that now suddenly made perfect sense. And so we've really been going through a lot, processing that, obviously, and really appreciate all the love and support that everybody's been giving us on our Instagram page and stuff. I know Morgan said she's had people texting her because they didn't want to bother me and whatever, but truly appreciate all the prayers. That is what has been getting us through, no doubt. So I have just now, I think the 3rd episode was about to air when I finally started watching this season.
I think you had literally watched it the next day.
Yeah. So it was a little bit, I'll take my Elvis hat off here. It was a little bit, get back in When Calls the Heart mode. It was a little while before I got to watch this, and I will go ahead and apologize in advance. Y'all know my brain is not the best. In the best of circumstances, I have been dealing with a lot of brain fog and stuff. So if I'm seeming a little worse than usual about my mind going blank or whatever, I apologize. I'm doing the best I can here. But I'm excited to be back to this because I've really been enjoying this season personally. Like,
I haven't too. And like I was even telling you, like on FaceTime, I was like, I'm glad to finally get back to where we're actually being able to watch the show, but we're actually able to talk about new stuff with the show. Like, yes, we're probably gonna touch on the triangle, fair warning to people, but it's not gonna be the same kind of talk.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot better.
Yeah.
But just a quick note to all of you guys that have been reaching out to me and hope, like, reaching out to me to get to Kerri. It really touched my heart to have all those messages coming in, because I was like, it honestly shocked me. I don't know why it did, because like the Hardy's community has always been so loving and caring and generous and just like pouring our hearts out for one another.
Yeah.
So again, thank you guys so much for all that love, all that reaching out, and all the prayers and the love that you've been sending both of us through the whole situation. I never got to personally meet Kerri's mom, but we were able to talk to each other whenever me and Kerri would be on our late night FaceTimes. And I could just tell from those small moments that she was just precious and wonderful and kind, just like Kerri. Like I saw, like, yeah, okay, definitely mother and daughter. Yeah. So definitely going to miss her very, very much. So, but okay, I guess we need to get into the good stuff now.
Can we get to the good part or skip to the good part? That's what it is. Yeah.
Let's skip to the good part. TikTok.
Yeah. I will start this off really quick by saying this, that I came into this season, we realized a lot of people don't want to watch the season. We're totally good with that. We know some people have been waiting on us to tell them what we thought. Sorry for the delay. Life happens. I know y'all understand that. But personally, I came into this season with no expectations, no bad feelings about what happened in season 8, just totally, okay, let's move forward. Let's move on. Coming at this with a clean slate, open mind, what you got for me? So I did not come into this with a harboring bad feelings from season 8. attitude. So that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, and I tried my best to do the same exact thing. And I will say it's easier said than done. Trust me, we all know that. We're not just coming here, don't think for 1 second that me and her have not cried plenty of tears and plenty of emotions by having to, do this. Not gonna lie, it's been like something me and her have definitely struggled with. But at the end of the day, it's like what my mom said one day. She's like, there's not that many shows out there that give you what When Calls the Heart gives us.
Right.
I mean, not every day you see a man pray openly on television.
Yeah.
And talk about God, talk about love, talk about forgiveness, talk about moving through grief and being able to restart on your life. And all this kind of stuff all these storylines that we're getting from When Calls the Heart, they really touch people's lives who are going through the same thing. And it continues to get touched on in the show. So I'm just excited to see what they bring. Obviously, I mean, these people have been in we're in season 9.
Yeah.
So I mean, even though it's a new season and it's definitely not the same as it was when the show first started, it's still really great. It still reaches the same points and the same reasons as to why the show even exists. And that's about heart and love and hope and community and, being there for one another and all of that. So that's primarily why I watch it.
Still out of all, it might not be, okay, it doesn't have the same depth to it anymore, I guess, but considering everything there is to watch out there these days, it's still one of the best things out there to watch.
It's got more depth than a lot of other shows. Let's be honest. It's got a lot more depth. I mean, Yeah. So the episode opens up with Elizabeth and Jack coming back into Hope Valley after being away, a month in Hamilton, visiting her family, letting them to be able to love on little baby Jack or little Jack. Though I love that Lucas kind of made that little comment of like, I think we need to stop calling you little Jack.
Little Jack, yeah.
Maybe we need to stop calling you little Jack. So because he is definitely not little anymore.
Holland is so cute as little Jack. I miss the Taylor twins, but Holland is adorable.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm glad that the Taylor twins are able to kind of the reason why, for all of those who don't know, the Taylor twins were the little twins that were playing little Jack pretty much since he was a year old.
Yeah.
Well, actually from the very beginning, like literally the first episode, which is the Christmas episode where she literally gives birth to him. That's little Jack. I think it's the same baby. Anyways, I think. Anyways, I could be wrong, but he's pretty much played little Jack this whole time up until this season. Pretty much, I know for a fact, season 6 through season 8. Well, they have decided to take a break from acting, which I can consider, seeing as they're like 4 years old.
Yeah,
and they've been pretty much acting since then. I mean, I can understand the little kids want a break to be a kid.
Yeah,
but the sweet little boy that is now playing him, I love him already. I love that he's like, "Hey, buddy." I loved that. I was like, "Oh, that's so cute."
Yeah.
So, but it starts off with them coming in, and Lucas greets them. So apparently everyone was really confused because they weren't coming out of a stagecoach. They were coming out of a carriage. I don't really know what it is, but I know that it had the Queen of Hearts stamped on the back of it. So I know Lucas owns it. And Elizabeth made the comment, like, thanking him for bringing the carriage out. But the cab out, or whatever what they were calling it. But how did he know that she was coming? They were coming in. And he said, "I didn't." Well, then comes another man off of the coach, and he says, "Lucas," and he's like, "Mr. Smith, hi, how are you?" And apparently he sent the carriage out to Mr. Smith and not Elizabeth and Jack. How they all wound up together, I don't know. But it was still really cute.
Well, they would have come in on the train, and if they came back early, so Lucas didn't know they came in on the same train, but they would have come in on the same train. So she would have seen the carriage there, and we're headed back there, and thinks he sent it.
I mean, it's got the Queen of Hearts all stamped on it, so obviously it's going to Hope Valley.
Yeah.
I love that little Jack shared his taffy with Mr. Smith. That was really cute. And then of course, Mr. Lucas and Mr. Smith talk. Apparently they're in business together over the old business. They bid their dues. They'll chat later, he says. So then he turns back to Elizabeth and at first says, I'll meet up with you guys later, or I'm sorry, I can't walk you home. Then he quickly flips it and says, you know what, I am going to walk you home. I'm not going to let business, derail any of this. I'm going to walk you home. And of course, Elizabeth's like, are you sure? This is, understand it's business. That's what you do. But I'm glad that he did turn around and decide to walk them home. And we got that cute little moment where they're like holding hands and like they're swinging Jack in between them. I was like, that is so cute.
So this is the Lucas I have been wanting to see since season 6. Like, seriously, I wanted you to show me this.
Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to finally be seeing the side of Lucas I've been wanting to see and I haven't been able to see.
Right. So. Yeah, because it's so cute. And I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, now you're going to give us him and little Jack now and all this kind of stuff. Like, I mean, you can kind of understand, like, I guess because me and Kerri are such behind the scenes people and we understand what goes on behind the scenes and how much that really affects what happens on screen. What people don't understand is like, yes, that we did get a lot of little Jack scenes even in season 8 during COVID, but they had to be really choosy with it. And I understand that. And I understand like there were, we did have the scenes where he was interacting with Nathan and stuff like that. But, how about we not focus on that?
Yeah.
Like it's a new
Let's not focus on what we can't change.
Exactly. Let's be happy that it's actually finally happening. And those, and I'm sorry, but those scenes are making up for the lack of scenes in season 8 for real, because that was absolutely the cutest thing. So yeah. So me and Kerri did have to write notes because of the fact that so if you see me looking off screen, I have like a bunch of notes on my phone.
I have my phone right here too. So I'm like, except mine are all out of order.
Yeah. So. I know you guys are like, they're not scripts. They're just kind of like PowerPoints of like what's happened in each episode, because we pretty much just
mine are literally like one line. Like Elizabeth returns from Hamilton with Mr. Smith. Jesse and Clara moved to a homestead in Montana. Ned and Florence.
Okay. Don't be spoiling it.
I keep saying it. I'm just saying it's literally like one line.
Well, mine's are not just one line. I'm kind of getting the gist of what I want to say, even just kind of get the feel of how I looked at things. But anyways,
she's more organized this time than I am.
For once in this entire podcast life. So,
like I said, my brain has not been the best. So.
Well, you have better excuse for it than I do. So if you guys see us kind of looking on screen at our phones and stuff, I promise we're not scripted. We have not changed that. It's just we literally spent the last hour watching 3 episodes straight, and knowing us and our brains, we're gonna get them mixed up. So, anyways, I was looking at my screen and I have this one line that says the kisses still give me the ick.
Okay, I don't remember. Okay, I don't remember if this.
They have gotten better. They've gotten better since the bridge kiss. The bridge kiss, I'm sorry, will always be just awful in my opinion. It will always be awful to me.
I agree,
but they have gotten better. They've gotten better.
I think my favorite kiss, like out of the 3 episodes, I don't remember which one this is in, honestly, but in the hot air balloon when he kisses her on the cheek, that to me was actually like the sweetest.
I think it's in this episode. I think it's in this episode.
I think it might be, but I'm not sure. But I think it would have been, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's in this episode.
But to me, that one was actually my favorite of theirs because it was like such a genuinely sweet moment and not just making.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah. No, I agree with you. It was definitely a lot better than the one that. So Elizabeth kissed it, like they kiss whenever she, they got off the thing. So of course Lucas changed his mind. He decides to walk them home, swinging a little Jack in between them. And then it kind of skips over to a new storyline where it's Cooper. And apparently Cooper has been misbehaving.
Yep.
He's been getting a little rowdy. I think it's I want to say it's in this episode, or possibly, yeah, it's in this episode. I want to say that Elizabeth makes the comparison to Cooper being a little Robert.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the perfect reaction, because I think we can all remember it. Robert was rowdy.
Oh,
Robert made trouble.
Oh, yeah.
He still does. So
he has grown up so well, though. I am so proud of Robert.
He has. I know. He's.
What is with him and Angela, though?
It's one of my notes. It's one of my notes. I remember that. Like, they've been like, I loved. I'm trying, like, we're trying to make sure we're not going off into the other episodes, but like, we're already derailing. But
this is what we do.
Yeah, this is just what we do. Anyways, yeah, I don't know what's going on with them two, but yeah, I'm glad that
adorable.
I'm glad that we're actually getting a storyline with Cooper, though.
Yes, same.
And I think that this was probably a very fitting thing for him.
And so, I feel like it's fitting too, because it's kind of a quote unquote coming of age things. I mean, he's probably what, like 10, 12?
Yeah.
Somewhere around in there. So I mean, he's at that age to start changing, and his attitude start changing, and him to start getting that little cocky attitude that teenagers start getting.
Or just acting out of not knowing what's going on inside of him emotionally, and like what's going on around him, and not fully knowing how to cope with it. You know, and like, I can't imagine just kind of going back, because like, Angela wasn't born blind. She got sick, and she became blind. So I can't imagine, especially in that time, what that was like for him even to go through. Because, you know, you can obviously see that him and Angela are really close. And it wasn't just because she became blind that they're close.
Right.
So, you know, I feel like those feelings are still inside of him. And as he's getting older, he's like, he doesn't know what to do with it. So he's acting out. So, but I'm glad, once again, I'm really glad that they're finally giving Cooper a new, you know, a storyline that's really good, that continues out through these 3 episodes. So I'm trying not to touch too much on it, because I don't want to blend some of the episodes. But let's see. An air balloon arrives into Hope Valley. So in the trailer, whenever the trailer obviously first came out, that was one of the biggest things that came into the trailer, was the hot air balloon. Everyone automatically was like, oh, here's Lucas with another grand gesture for his precious Elizabeth and all that kind of stuff. I got so excited because, like, I don't know why, I guess because I like when you know, the writers and everything kind of throw a loop, and like everyone thinks it's this thing, but it's not. I know it doesn't always, you know, make us happy when they do that, but this one kind of made me happy because everyone
had nothing to do with it.
Lucas had nothing to do with it. Absolutely had nothing to do with it. The one time something big happens in Hope Valley, Lucas has nothing to do with it. Because everyone was so paid. They're like, oh, another grand gesture with precious Elizabeth, you know, and all this kind of stuff. It had nothing to do with him. This man owns an hot air balloon, and he literally just lets it take him wherever the wind blows, because you can't really control a hot air balloon. So, and wherever he lands, he gives out rides to people that wanted to do them. So I thought that was kind of cool. The kids were all outside. They were waving and everything. I loved it because it kind of panned to Nathan. He was like waving, and then he stopped and he looked at his hand and he kind of put it down.
Yeah, I was like, what am I doing? Yeah.
Like, what am I doing? Yeah. I thought that was like hilarious because he had like a slight embarrassment on his face.
Yeah.
He like looked at his face and he kind of like.
But it was almost like he was waving funny or something, like not just like.
Yeah.
It was almost like
kind of felt like he was trying to do that.
Oh gosh.
I thought that was really cute. By the way, we have a new title sequence this season.
Yeah.
And I actually really like it. Other than the fact that Fiona and Hickam aren't on it. And I you know, but I understand they're side characters or whatever. But I do like the new title sequence.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
Yeah, I did too. And the shots that they use are really nice, and they really capture the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because one you see Nathan without his surge on, and one you see him with it on, and so yeah, and one you're actually seeing him smile. He's not like brooding in
Yeah.
his Mountie outfit. So yeah.
I'm so excited. We're actually seeing some sarcasm from Nathan in this season.
Hallelujah.
Like, seriously, he was always so serious
Yeah.
and shy and whatever. And it's
And like whenever
he-
other people would kind of make a joke or whatever, he would laugh. It wouldn't be like, it was like he wanted to be, he was too serious.
yeah.
Like, and he maybe he felt like he had to be too serious or something because
Yeah.
being a Mountie and him being in new territory and like taking Jack's place and not wanting to seem silly
Yeah.
and like you know,
I felt like he had to prove himself. earn his
yeah, like
spot.
maybe he had to be too stoic and too serious and too like, you know, tough.
Mhm.
So by the way, this is like kind of a slap towards us, Team Nathan people, because this is one of the things that me and you talked about being like one of the biggest things that made us feel like Lucas wasn't the one. Lucas, see, I'm trying to go back. Lucas just walks right into Elizabeth's house. She barely gets the door open and says hi to him. He just automatically comes in.
Yeah.
Like he owned it.
I mean, I don't have a problem with him in her house.
I have no problem at all.
In season 8, they literally made such a point of her inviting him in however many times that he literally refused to step foot in her door. And now it's just like, oh, he's right at home. And it's like, wait, when did this happen? And we missed it. So it's like we just missed something. I don't have a problem with it.
It's been like a month since Elizabeth has even been in town. Like this is like Chris McNally even said in an interview, like, we're just now going to be able to really see them courting. Like they've been courting, but this is when it's really going to be the seriousness behind it because they don't have the triangle, like Nathan and that whole ordeal and her not necessarily deciding.
Right.
So, and then of course him and Elizabeth, I loved whenever they started like bickering about the clock because she's was practically begging him like, are you sure you can't stay and have breakfast and all that kind of stuff? And
understand that, to be honest, because it was almost like he was finding something to do, like he was nervous.
Yeah.
Or something. Almost like
it was really weird.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really understand that. I mean, it was cute in a way because it was like he was nervous, but at the same time, I was like, okay.
Or it could have been another way for him to kind of like let out some of his excitement.
Yeah.
Even too.
Well, and I feel like it is a guy thing too to go, wait, that's not right, and to go try to fix it.
Like especially someone like Lucas who has constantly got his pocket watch out.
Yeah.
He literally is like the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. He's always got that pocket watch out. But I love whenever he was like tinkering with that and stuff. And it's like, you know,
I love the fact that he put it back though instead of leaving it on the right time.
Yeah. He's like, okay. And he's like, yes, right. Because he was like, you know, all the time that we've been talking about time and the clock and everything, you could have been having breakfast. And he's like, yeah, sorry. And then I loved when he like obviously wanted to have dinner with her though tonight, and she the three of us, and she's like, you, me, and Mr. Smith. He's like, well, at least you don't have to cut up his food.
Yeah. That was such a cute little line. I was sorry.
It was, especially how you said it. I thought it was really cute. So yeah. But hey, and there is Lucas making a point to have LoJack with him, like with them when they go on something, which he's done in season 7 and season 8 too. But once again, Elizabeth is the one that turns it down and says just the two of us. Because LoJack is tired from the trip, which is understandable. He's like a little kid, you know. So,
I mean, heck, I'm tired when I come back from a trip. So
seriously. So then now we're getting to see we're really getting to dive into Rosemary being the editor-in-chief of the Valley Voice. So we get to kind of see her like, you know, really getting out there and actually getting to do like reporting. So she's talking to like the hot air balloon guy and stuff. And I don't know why, but in this sequence, I forgot how hilariously like theatrical she is. And I love that because I feel like, and I could be wrong, and maybe I just need to go back and rewatch it, but I feel like she didn't have as much of a theatrical way about her in the last season, or at least not towards the end.
I feel like she was a little more serious.
Yeah, she was a lot more serious last season than she is this season, which I
loved it when she was like, "Oh, Lee, I found that note." That's very helpful. Yeah. And then how she's still just like, "Oh yeah,
she's like, yeah, so happy, like so happy." I love it because like that once again shows you that she really has found her calling.
Yeah,
and I love to see that with her because like she's just completely glowing.
Yeah.
When she's doing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved the forgetting the note and him like, and I also kind of like that she's, still being able to really show Lee that she's 100% behind him and supporting him running for mayor, but she's also taking her job serious and being like, I have to be unbiased. I have to make sure that people aren't thinking that I'm writing my opinions and what's going on with the voting if I'm your wife. I understand that everyone knows that I'm your wife, but at the end of the day, they have to know that I'm not going to be biased with my writing, with my reporting and everything, especially when it deals with, because like if Lee did become mayor, she would have to keep that up. She wouldn't be able to be biased even after he becomes mayor. So yeah. By the way, do we find out? We do find out in this episode who becomes mayor, right?
No, I think it's the second episode.
The second episode? Okay, then I'll keep quiet. So yeah, I just love the support the two show for each other and how they are with one another.
How cute were Ned and Florence too?
I love them.
They are like the cutest couple I never knew I needed, but I love them.
And I love how like excited they get with each other. Like it's hilariously funny and sweet and just like,
Yeah. I love when she came out of the back room when they're in their little outfit. And I love how she walked out. She looked like a dancer. Like literally, she looked like Rosemary making an entrance.
She did.
She walked out cute and prim and proper and whatever. It was so adorable.
And I love that she made a comment about Ned's beard.
I know.
I feel like it's like everybody's anti-hair right now because like they're making comments about Nathan's mustache, like, and now they're making comments about Ned's beard. I'm like, okay, are you guys just like completely anti like facial hair? Don't tell Gowan.
Or was she just picking on him because he had just been like with a mirror fussing at his beard? When
I forgot about that point.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's pretty hard to like watch the show and then like remember that certain people are not on the show this season.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they did give us where they are. So Claire and Jesse are now living in Montana, as Kerri said previously in the beginning of the episode. And they sent a letter to Bill, which I thought was really sweet. I thought that was really sweet that they sent them a letter. And it even went into detail. Like they have a goat named Mags. They have 6 chickens, a dog, and 75 acres all to themselves.
Yeah.
So, and yeah.
I love it because Bill was always kind of a father figure to Clara and to Jesse.
Yeah, to both of them, yeah.
But I love the close-knit relationship between them.
Me too.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I love that now, even though that Jesse and Clara are gone, now the Canfields are living in Abigail's old home. And I love that home is staying filled with family. And you still get that warmth sense from them being there.
Wait, are the Canfields in Abigail's old home, or did Elizabeth move in that one?
What?
When Elizabeth moved into her row house, did she get Abigail's old house or not? That's several seasons ago, so I don't even remember.
No. Remember, Abigail's was right next door. Right?
Can somebody tell us who lives in which row house? Because we obviously don't remember. I mean, guys, that's like from season 3 or 4.
So wait, I am confused because like I'm pretty sure in season 8 the Canfields were moving into a row house.
Yeah, but like Elizabeth has her row house, and then
Rosemary, no, I think they were living closer. I want to say they were living closer to Nathan and Allie, which were way down, way further down in the row houses.
Mm-hmm.
But they used see technically, okay, behind the scenes they only have 2 row houses.
Yeah, they like
use green screens and stuff to make all the other long row houses. They're not actually there, which is crazy because, you know. Anyways,
lost the lid to my water bottle. Sorry.
Guys, we're a mess right now, more than usual. I want to say that the Canfields are living in Abigail's old house.
Maybe, but I don't remember. For some reason, I was thinking.
And it's right there with. I swear, I do remember them moving into a row house, but now with them sitting at the table eating breakfast at the table on the other side of the cafe. Mm-hmm. Where the actual kitchen is, which if you go up the stairs, you go where Abigail used to live with Cody and where Clara and Jesse were living in season 8. So I don't know.
But when Elizabeth first moved to Coal Valley, Abigail
lived with Abigail up the stairs of the cafe, right?
No, Abigail had a row house in season 1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think Elizabeth did move into Abigail's old row house, and she took the house that was above the cafe. Okay, now I remember. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
can't remember. I couldn't remember if Elizabeth was in Abigail's row house or if I think Lee and Rosemary took the one that was I don't know.
Somebody tell us in the comments here.
Yeah, because I think we can all remember Elizabeth burned down the teacherage.
Yeah.
So
if you don't remember that, definitely go back and rewatch it.
I want to say Lee and Rosemary took one of the other, because remember the row houses were specifically for the coal miners' families.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a big storyline of season.
Yeah, that was a big storyline because they were going to take them away, and that the new miners that were coming in and taking.
And remember that there were 3 row houses there, and they took one of them and used it to build the church.
I don't remember.
Like behind the scenes, yeah, the church was the 3rd row house.
Oh, wow.
They just took that building and moved it. And
wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get back on track.
Yeah.
It was really cute to see the Canfields in Abigail's Cafe like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Minnie works there now, so yeah, it's understandable.
Yeah, and also she made the note of wanting to possibly buy the cafe from Bill.
I thought that was an interesting.
That was interesting too. I think that perfectly fits Minnie.
Oh yeah,
like because I could tell that she's someone who loves to cook and bake for her family and for everyone. That's kind of how she shows love.
That's kind of her service. Like
that's her service.
Kind of her way of serving is by taking care of people.
Yeah. So that's very fitting, and I hope it happens. Even though I know that that's them really fully moving away from Abigail, which I hate, but it has to happen, unfortunately. I'm glad that but if anyone was to get Abigail's Cafe, I'm glad it's Minnie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And hopefully she'll keep it as Abigail's Cafe.
Yeah.
So Faith is officially on her own. Mm-hmm. She is now the sole owner of the infirmary. I can't even talk. So you got brain fog and I got a silly mouth that can't talk and form words.
Good luck listening to this, y'all.
Sorry, guys. We're still trying to get our footing because we haven't done this in like what feels like months, especially with the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, it has almost been 2 months.
It has, yeah. It's been crazy.
Yeah.
Poor Faith. She just can't seem to get it together. Her poor son's falling out the door. And it's crazy.
Yeah. I love the looks on their faces, though, when Henry came over there to borrow the hammer and, like, just jerked his office door open.
At least he did it kindly. At least he did it. At first, they were kind of like, what? Hi. And he's like, can I see that? Thank you. And just, like, grabs it out of her hand and, like, goes over there and then, like,
I like the wide eyes they had.
Yeah, like the wide eyes. But did you see how like Faith automatically got all gritty whenever he's like, Dr. Molly? Because she's like, oh, he called me doctor.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
They did, of course, mention Carson again, which I love that Faith now has Fiona and Molly to kind of be that friend group for her right now.
Yeah.
But I love the bickering of them, like, why didn't you call Carson? And Molly's like, I thought I told her that. And she's like, guys, I don't need Carson. I need to be able to do this by myself. You know. So I love that. And of course, later in the episode, she calls him. Now he doesn't answer, unfortunately.
Oh, wait, that wasn't that episode.
Spoiler alert. You guys have already seen it. Come on, let's be real. But yeah.
Everybody has.
Yeah, everybody except for us until like you just saw the third episode today, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so and I love that she went into like the very top secret like door to grab the hammer. Like Ned and Florence were like, you weren't supposed to go in there. She's like, and she like had her hand like over her eyes.
Yeah, that was so cute.
And she's like, I just borrowed a hammer. And she like automatically started walking. And Florence is like,
yeah.
And Ned's like, let's just go in.
Yeah.
Like, just forget it.
I think it was kind of hilarious because like it was pretty obvious just from the previews and the pictures we were seeing what they were going to be opening by their outfits. Like we didn't even have to see the inside of it to know what it was.
You knew they had to deal with like a soda fountain and all that.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting a pharmacy though. But then again, back in those days,
they would have been combined though.
Yeah, it was right on point because a lot of times, and there are still towns, like small towns, that do the whole pharmacy with the soda fountain type thing. So it's not out of reality.
Yeah.
So speaking of the pharmacy, I don't know about you, and I feel like you feel the same way, but I'm loving Maysu. I do. I'm glad that she's very sweet and kind, but she's also, like she said, strong spoken and very quick to just go ahead and just tell her opinion or how she's
like
doing.
in comments and stuff like calling her rude and bossy and whatever. And I'm like, where are you getting that?
Like, are you watching the same show I am? Like,
Yeah.
She does have a few times where she's short spoken, but I don't necessarily see it as being rude. I feel like, because there's so much secrecy around her, she's bringing back what Lucas brought when he first came in, that secrecy and like not necessarily like giving little tiny crumbs.
Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? We're kind of dealing with the same thing with her. Like, okay,
so I will say this. I honestly, like, I'm loving that because like we have been missing that since Lucas kind of stopped being so mysterious, though he is starting to pick up a little bit of his mystery back. I will say that. I'm excited to see that. But so diving deep into Maysu, I have some of my notes here just to kind of get what she kind of spoke as in this episode mainly. I don't want to go off into the other stuff yet. But she kind of makes a grand entrance, which I love too. So, and I love that her first entrance into the show is with Nathan, even though Nathan doesn't necessarily know that.
Yeah.
So of course she has a hat on, she's like all covered up. And she's riding this horse really fat, her brown quarter horse, very fast brown quarter horse, into town. And of course, Nathan's like, whoa, why is that dude in a hurry? And like whips Newt around like to go after her. She goes behind Elizabeth's house and she obviously takes off her disguise, and Jack's in the window and she just goes, and he's like,
yeah, it's so cute.
So cute. Yeah. I loved it. So a lot of people were like, oh, why was she dressed like that and all this kind of stuff? Like, it must be a serious secret for her to be dressed up like that. And I'm like, it's not necessarily uncommon for a woman on horseback to be disguised like that. Apparently back in those days, especially, I mean, I can even kind of understand it right now. It kind of kept them from being robbed and taken and, all that kind of stuff.
Now, why she was riding at that speed, I think honestly was just to add the element of
like, oh, what's going on?
Intrigue. Yeah.
And plus, like, she had to get the attention of Nathan. I mean, Nathan's not gonna, And plus, another thing, she kind of has to be going fast because I mean, that would also probably keep people from wanting to engage with her or,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff until she was ready to show who she was.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I love how
that.
she's like, Constable, and he's like, this.
Yeah, like still so confused.
He's like
He
so
just
shocked.
lost
He's
this
like,
guy he's looking for.
yeah.
And, yeah.
He's like, the horse looks familiar, but not the rider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we found out that Mr. Smith, that Fiona had brought Mr. Smith into town. Actually,
And apparently, yeah. And
that he used to work for the mine company, or the coal company that Henry Gowan kept trying to tell them there's something wrong with the mine, and they wouldn't listen. So there's kind of some bad blood between Mr. Gowan and Mr. Smith. So Mr. Gowan is not too happy about this.
Especially with the fact that he is now involving himself with the oil company, his oil company.
Yeah.
I mean, even though it's not solely his anymore, Lucas has ties to it. Fiona has ties to it. Hickam has ties to it. Mm-hmm. And then Fiona kind of drops the bomb that she knew that those two had bad blood, and she still decided to take the opportunity. Mm-hmm. And I will say that's kind of shocking for me that she would do that, because I don't know.
I think she was being a peacemaker as a woman and just kind of, well, maybe if I can just get them together, they'll talk it over and they'll work it out and they'll be fine. So
not knowing that is not how men work, especially men like Gowan.
Yeah. So it was no surprise really that, let me back up real quick, because that was an interaction between Nathan and Elizabeth was there in the saloon. But I still personally loved the interaction with them when he asked her if Lucas could teach him how to drive. And then she offers to teach him how to drive. Okay, I'm sorry.
And he's like, and she's like, a car? And he's like, no, a team of horses. And she's like, ha.
Yeah. I'm loving the fact that they are trying to have a friendship, personally.
And so many people,
a lot of people that is bugging. I'm totally fine with it. But then again, I have always said that him and Lucas were best friends, were future best friends.
So they were definitely destined to be friends.
Yeah. I mean, whenever Nathan finally ends up with a girl, I'm seeing double dates all the time.
Oh yeah. And I could even,
I don't know, I just see them.
And even with Elizabeth and Maysu's tiny little interactions, I can see them being really good. Cause I could see that being really good together. But yeah, I loved that interaction, and I understand why people feel like they're just kind of being pushed together. But for all of those, I don't know about anybody else, but I live in a small town. It's very hard to live in a small town and be able to avoid people that you've had connections with.
Well, and let's face it, if they were avoiding each other and whatever, people would
be highly known.
Yeah, well, people would be saying Nathan can't grow up and get over it and move on, and Elizabeth's being a snob, which is pretty much what they're saying anyway. But you can't make people happy, okay? And I'm saying this in love. A lot of people are coming into this season with the mindset, I'm not going to like this.
Yeah. That's where you go, where you're going wrong.
Yeah.
I get it. You're going to find negative.
I 100% get it, because we went through our emotions too. We went through 4 months of trying to process what happened at the end of season 8.
I mean, for crying out loud, we almost changed our entire podcast because of it.
Yeah, we were debating whether we were even going to do season 9. So we are the last people to judge anybody for not wanting to watch season 9. But I'm just saying, your attitude coming into this is going to impact how you feel about the season. For both of us, we came into it with a show me what you got, and not
prove to me that this was exactly what needed to happen.
Yeah.
Prove to me that Lucas really was the one that was meant to be with Elizabeth. Prove to me that Nathan was better off with someone else. Prove to me that this show can continue to be good and wholesome and everything. And so far, they've proved it.
Yeah. I will say the one thing that I noticed, and I don't remember if this was first episode or not, but the interaction between Elizabeth and May, I was noticing Elizabeth seemed off. Like she seemed not okay. I know this was kind of the way she was in season 8. She didn't seem as like just simply genuine as she used to seem in previous seasons. But I will say, I mean, like especially now, I can say from experience, grief changes people.
Yeah.
You know, what you experience in your life changes you, and you are not going to be the same person that you were before. For better or worse, you're never going to be that same person again. So
well, honestly, like I wouldn't be surprised if they even made Elizabeth I'm trying not to like necessarily say it a certain way, but what I'm saying, like, let's say May and Nathan do start. I want their, if May is the one that is going to be the one that Nathan ends up with, I hope it's a slow burn. I hope it is a slow burn, like Jack and Elizabeth slow burn without the interruptions of other triangles.
Yeah.
Okay, like
please,
please, no more triangles. Please, just please. What I'm saying is like if Elizabeth picks up on that, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she came to May Sue and was like, look, I broke his heart. Okay. Was not my intention to break his heart, but I broke his heart. Don't you do it. Like if you don't know for a fact that you are in love with him and you want to be with him, don't do it. Because he's already been that with me. I wouldn't be surprised if she had that kind of conversation with someone like May Sue.
Yeah.
I mean, she wouldn't necessarily have to have that conversation with, say, Faith.
Yeah.
Because literally Faith was there to see all of it pretty much.
I feel like somebody would have that conversation with May Sue, whether or not it was Faith, whether or not it was Elizabeth.
Yeah. And I kind of see, like, and I don't know if it's because Faith is more weary of everything that's going on with May, but a lot of people have been picking up saying that Faith is jealous and all this kind of stuff. I did not get that vibe from her.
She was not jealous at all. Where did people get that?
At least not in the first episode, but like I think it was the third episode. It was the episode where Elizabeth's book came out, which I think is the second episode. Second or third episode.
I think the third episode, yeah, but it was the third episode.
But no, but I'm just saying that's people on Instagram and Twitter and everything were kind of like saying that they thought that they saw some jealousy in Faith, and I know exactly what scene they're talking about, and I didn't get that vibe. If anything, I kind of feel like
we ever mentioned people are weird. You're like, I'm skipping that comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say this, guys. Like, I was texting a friend today, and we were talking about it, and she has not watched, doesn't really want to watch, whatever. Although she did say she would listen to our podcast and see what we thought about it. But you know, she was kind of giving her perspective on some stuff, and I was like, I'm not really seeing the same thing you're getting out of this, you know, just from what she's hearing from people. I was like, but I will say this. There was a birthday card that we got my mom one year. I read it one way and hated it. Like, I despised this card. It made me so mad that my brother got this card for my mom. My brother read it a totally different way and thought it was hilarious. My mother read it a completely different way than either one of us and thought it was so sweet. So, like, the three of us looking at the exact same thing, and we read it in totally different ways, and we got something completely different out of it. So that's all that's happening here. It doesn't make any one of us right or wrong. It's just how we're viewing it, and we're just giving you our opinions of how we're viewing it. We're not saying you don't have a right to your opinion. But
yeah. So we do find out that May Sue has been in contact with Ned Yost and Florence about taking the position as the pharmaceutical for the pharmacy. That's where I was like, you know how we are. I think all of you are pretty much aware that we get sidetracked a lot. So I mean, if you're sitting here and this is like a 3-hour podcast episode, it's the norm with us. So just bear with us.
Yeah.
But basically, she was impersonating her from what we might perceive as her husband.
Yeah.
We don't know. It's kind of iffy right now. It's a big question mark hanging over May's head when it comes to that. Apparently her husband was she's basically was his apprentice. His name is Joff.
What are you doing with a pair of scissors?
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
Girl, you're waving your hand around. I'm seeing these scissors. I'm like, what are you doing?
I feel like we gotta, like, do we need to just start this podcast episode over? Okay. So basically, May has been in contact with Ned and Florence this whole time. They've apparently been going back and forth for months. Yeah. She is impersonating her. She was impersonating her so-called husband or mentor, whatever. Portraying to be him to become the pharmacist of the new pharmacy in Hope Valley. Well, apparently she was the one doing it, and she has been his apprentice, which is what usually happens whenever you're trying to become a doctor or nurse or whatever. You have to do an apprenticeship before you can actually become a full-on doctor, nurse, pharmacist. Faith did that with Carson, so she can become a doctor. So that's what May did with Jeffrey to become a pharmacist, whatever you want to call it. So she, of course, shows up like she did. Well, she makes herself known to Ned and Florence, and they, of course, wig out because they're like, "You're not who you said you are. We're here. We thought we were hiding Jeffrey." She's like, "I was under Jeffrey. You've been in contact with me. I am been telling you guys the entire truth this whole time. I am a pharmacist. I have my degree, but I knew that you," and she pretty much made it known to Ned, like, "You wouldn't have hired me if I was a woman. If you knew that I was a woman, you would not have hired me." Well, other stuff kind of starts coming out because Faith says that she would call Jeffrey to kind of make sure that everything that May is saying is true, which I think just goes back to pretty much proving her point of being like, if you didn't know I was a woman, you would not be questioning me like this. You wouldn't be questioning my degree. You wouldn't be questioning whether or not I could do this job. You would believe me. So, which is true to tell him, because honestly, that still happens today.
Yeah.
I mean, women are still getting questioned no matter what position what career they have, or what credentials they have, how many degrees they have on a wall. All of that still gets questioned because we're simply women. So I think that's a very telling storyline that I'm excited to continue to maybe unfold. But anyways, so of course that raises an eyebrow with Faith, because obviously, they're going to be working together because she's a pharmacist, she's a doctor. So they're obviously going to have a lot of time together and everything. And I didn't notice this the first time I watched it, but whenever I watched it again, May came from the same hospital that Faith did. Everyone knows whenever he came with Elizabeth to meet her family and everything, his brother got hurt, and Faith was the nurse taking care of Jack's brother, Tom, right? Thomas?
Yeah.
So Jeffrey and May both worked at that hospital. She knew both of them, mainly Jeffrey more than May. So she came out of that same hospital. I thought that was kind of a cool little nugget to kind of go way back. So yeah. I really like May's character. She's got that mystery to her, but she's also really sweet and kind, but also very plain spoken and gets right to the point. I think another point me and you kind of talked about was how Bill was not like sniffing around her the minute he saw her.
I don't know if maybe he's just too preoccupied with the mayoral race. Yeah. I don't know if he's just too preoccupied with that or whatever, but like second episode, we don't need to get into that right this second. Like starting to tell something and realize that's the second episode. But yeah, that like normally Bill is the most suspicious person.
He's like a hound dog sniffing around, making sure that everything's going right.
Yeah. So yeah, to see him not be like digging up her past and
Yeah.
whatever, like not fingerprinting her and whatever. That would be typical Bill, and we're not seeing that. The one other note that I have is that Mr. Gowan gets arrested for fighting Mr. Smith. They're like in the saloon, and Nathan had walked in. Elizabeth invites him to sit down. They're sitting there talking, and I love the fact that he tells her, "It's good to see you happy." And she was like, "I'm grateful we can remain friends. I would have really regretted it otherwise." She really does care about Nathan. Like, you can really tell that she does. But I
had to just continue to ignore the comments that she made in the season 8 finale. I just had to completely block them out of my head. But I never questioned that she didn't. I never questioned her, how much she did actually care for Nathan.
Yeah.
So
but I'm like, I love the fact that she said that personally. Again, I know a lot of people are bugged by this. Personally, I love that they are just trying to make themselves friends and just like try not to make this any more awkward than it has to be. But also love that there is some awkward jest there, because that's real life.
That's real life.
But so Lucas comes over to the table because him and Elizabeth were supposed to have dinner together that night, and he's like, I don't really want to leave these two over here by themselves.
Which still didn't really help the matter.
Yeah. Oh, and the fact that Hickam was so upset because somebody had like drawn a mustache on his poster.
You're forgetting when Lucas walks over to the table and everything, and they're both talking. Him and Elizabeth were like, "Great, great." Nathan's like, "Great,
great." Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
And he's like, "Nathan, Lucas." But there was a moment where Nathan does kind of look at Elizabeth, not in like a specific way, but like, it's almost like he kind of felt bad that Elizabeth was having to cancel their dinner. It almost like a split second he questioned whether or not he should have went to Lucas about that night. Anyways,
almost like I wouldn't be doing this to you type.
Yeah.
In reality,
you have to worry about this with
me.
He
would, but that's just a guy thing, like, to want to make sure she's taken care of.
Yeah. He does eventually excuse himself from Elizabeth to do the mountain work, which was Hickam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course he meets Mesu at that particular moment.
I love how he just like of course Hickam is going on and on about the mustache being drawn on his most wanted page.
Yeah, that was not wanted.
Most not wanted.
Yeah.
And like at first he's like completely like, what's going on, and Hickam's like, they drew on my poster.
Hickam is like the most adorable guy in town. I'm sorry, I love him so much.
And it's like something just catches his eye, and he turns into Mesu, and it just like locks. It's like he can't, and he's like, excuse me, never even giving.
You remember? Okay, it's not quite the same thing, but the only thing I would know to relate it to is in season 2, when Jack looks over and Elizabeth and her sisters are walking down the staircase, and he's like just glued. Yeah, and that's kind of the way Nathan was, except it wasn't that like eyes lit up, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful thing. It was more like a, who's this? Like, I think it has top look, but it was still that just.
Honestly, I kind of saw it as like, wow, there she is. Like, I need to go talk to her.
Yeah.
There was definitely a confidence to him. And I don't really know if it was necessarily Mountie confidence, because we know whenever Nathan's in the Red Surge, there's always something different about him. He's in that Mountie mode. Yeah. And like, but he's like, hi. And she's like, Constable. He's like, did I see you come into town today? Or something like that. And she's like, did you? And he's like,
so innocent.
You came in on a brown quarter horse. And she's like, very common breed. And he's like, a fast brown quarter horse. And she's like, Mesu. And he's like, Nathan Grant. And I was just like, I don't know what it was, but just like, as simple as it was, there was just something really there between them.
I liked it.
I liked it. I really did. Yeah. I really liked it. And I feel like Mesu would definitely be someone that would be they would really be able to butt heads in the right way.
Challenge
Like,
each other.
yeah, challenging to one another.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I really liked that part of things with that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, out of nowhere, like you said, Gowan and Smith get into a fight. I loved it because it kind of had a little bit of a note to Nathan's first night in Hope Valley.
Yes. Except this time he didn't get punched.
Yeah, he wasn't the one that he's not the one that got punched. He's not the one that ended up in the jail cell this time.
Yeah.
But it's funny because once again, Lucas was involved.
But it was
Lucas actually helped break up the fight this time. Last time he kind of stood back with his cards.
I love the fact that he like just grabbed Henry, you know.
Oh yeah, he just like all up in there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I loved the conversation between and of course Mr. Gowan gets locked up, but I love the conversation between Nathan and Lucas. I guess the next day.
Yeah, it was like the next day.
Where Nathan's like, it's funny, I always pictured you as more of a poet than a fighter. And Lucas was like, I'll take that as a compliment. And Nathan's like, you take that however you want to. But again, I'm sorry, I have said this from season 6. Those two are future best friends. It's like they have.
And the fact that him and Kevin are good friends, like the fact that him and Kevin are good friends off screen.
Yeah, it's like they're frenemies or something.
Yeah, and I think that those are like the most interesting type of friendships where there's some bickering there and there's still like whatever is like in the middle of there, but they are friends because it kind of and obviously like that makes sense because like in the season 8 finale, he told Lucas, "I got your back." Mm-hmm. So I mean. I don't know. I want them to become friends.
Yeah.
I want them all to become friends. So
I'm loving that we're seeing that this season that we're seeing the 3 of them become friends.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Well, I was gonna tell the last thing that happened, so go ahead.
Oh well, I mean, we kind of skipped over some of the parts in the beginning, such as one of our favorite scenes with Bill and Nathan.
Oh yeah. Which that kind of ties into what happens at the end. So yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the first scene that we kind of see, besides the awkward hand wave from Nathan, this season is him and Bill are in town. They're riding their horses into town, and obviously there's cars that are going by. And he's like, and Bill says that the Mountie Corporation wants them to learn how to drive. Mm-hmm. Of course, Nathan is against it and stuff, and. Bill's like, it's just like I can teach you how and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, are you giving up your horse? He's like, no, I'm not giving up my horse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but that was just so hilarious because he's the one that like digging Nathan. Like, you just need to go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and I can teach you. And he's like, I'm not getting rid of my horse. And he's like, are you going to get rid of that mustache and that little thing right there? And Nathan's like, not likely.
Team Gravery, they're like they're the best.
They're the best. I can't. I love them so much. And the fact that like, and of course Nathan, he said, I'd vote for you, Bill. And he even said, hoping that you would cover for me so I can go see Allie. And he's like, did you just drop her off at her grandparents? He's like, yeah, but I miss her.
Yeah.
I love that. I love, even with Allie not physically being there, these past 3 episodes, she has been mentioned and it's always been around Nathan, and Nathan just being like, you could just see.
That's his little girl.
That's his little girl. Like just mentioning her name makes him get all smiley and happy.
He's such a proud dad.
He is. He is. I loved it. So I love that, getting to see that. And I love that Bill is such a sucker for, he's like, of course I will. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you didn't even have to ask. Of course.
Bill is such a softie. Like,
he is reality, especially when kids are involved. I know. Like. But I love that he once again has a relationship with, it's not like his and Jax's relationship. It's their own. I love that it's nothing like how Bill and Jack were. If anything, I feel like it's almost better in some ways. Like,
it's more like they're best friends, whereas with Jack and Bill, it was more of a father-son type relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I kind of see it too. So, but yeah.
But that kind of ties into the end of the episode though, where I love how he's just riding down the road talking to
Yes.
me. Like, can you imagine me and you out doing around
riding around in a car?
It's like, you're gonna put that big old horse in a car.
Because I feel like that, I really do feel like that's what it is in Nathan's mind. He's like Newt is not his way of transportation.
Yeah.
Like
he's his buddy. He's his partner.
That's his best friend. That is his best friend. That's his companion. That's his partner.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not just himself.
Newt has literally come to his rescue and saved his life. Like
seriously. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
I mean, in Nathan's mind, that's sane to think of them both being in the car, because like that is what Newt is to him. Is like
he's a big old horse though.
He is. He's huge.
I mean, Kevin is what, like 6 foot something? Is like,
yeah, I think Kevin's like what, 6'4" or something like that. Like he's 6'4" or something.
Something like that. So it's like, to have a horse that he looks normal on, you've got to have a big old horse.
Yeah.
So to put a big old horse like that in a car. But I love the fact that he's just riding, talking to his horse.
And I feel like that's another reason why Elizabeth was kind of shocked, because she was like, a car, and he's like, no, a team of horses. Like, but I also love like they also started having a conversation about, like, I loved how he realized that he never told Elizabeth that he took Allie to his grandparents.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, I took Allie to her grandparents. I probably should have told you that before. Because Minnie was substituting for Elizabeth while she was gone.
Yeah.
But I love that completely.
Like, Minnie gave her a bunch of homework. I hope this is okay. And she's like, she's bright. I'm sure she'll be fine.
Yeah. But I love how they also kind of had in common, like, what it's like whenever you had a kid and like your parents completely overlook at you and like they're all about the grandkids.
Yeah.
Because she kind of made the note, like, not that they paid attention to me all month long, but they loved having Little Jack. And he's like, yeah, that's about how it happened whenever I dropped Allie off at her grandparents. Oh, wait. I dropped Allie at her grandparents. Probably should have told you that. Sorry.
That was so cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the end of that episode, like,
a lot of people actually had, I forgot, sorry. A lot of people actually had a problem with Elizabeth offering to teach Nathan how to drive.
I feel like that's just kind of the next, like, women more coming into their own thing of the times. Like, I don't feel like that was, a lot of people are saying Elizabeth is being too friendly. She's like inserting herself too much into Nathan's life. I'm like, okay, first of all, they're trying to become friends. But also, I don't think that was necessarily Elizabeth. And granted, like, I get it. Maybe she should have just said, sure, I'll ask him. But again, I think that
probably thought that he'd be too busy, because I mean,
he's
got the saloon. He's got her and Luke. She's got her and Little Jack too, and then also the old Derek. So it's like she probably honestly thought that he might be too busy and didn't want to say that to Nathan. So instead, she knows that she can drive. So she's like, I'll do it, because he said that he didn't want Bill to know.
Yeah, I think it might have been that, but I feel like it would lean more towards Elizabeth just being an independent female. You don't have to ask Lucas.
She's a teacher. Yeah, she's a teacher. So like, I feel like it's also a teacher's instinct that if someone wants to learn something, she'll teach
that you know how to do. You just
yeah. So I thought, I guess that just comes with us having the mindset that we're done with season 8.
Yeah,
to move on, stop reading too much into everything, and just kind of go on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, why not? It would be a little odd just because, how people are and how the town is. Even I feel like Floyo would be having a field day with that. So,
yeah. But Nathan was fighting the vehicle thing all episode long.
Yeah.
And then at the very end there, when he's just riding down the road, and this episode ends on that cliffhanger of, you can tell he's about to get in an accident here, with a car, and he's on Newton. But that's the cliffhanger of that.
So basically, a man on a horse that's also pulling this big carriage or
wagon.
behind him kind of blocks Nathan's view. Well, this other car is like barreling from one side. Nathan's coming in on Newt on the other side. They're like both going pretty fast. And Nathan obviously breaks Newt back and like stops him, but it's too late. The car's gonna hit them.
Right.
And it kind of blanks off of that. So John Tinker, who is showrunner and writer, I think, of this episode, I could be wrong, or it might be the next episode. He said that he fought to try and get that scene taken off. Because he's like, I don't want people to go to bed with that emotion. He's like, I didn't want to send them away like worried or hurt or mad or upset.
I'm sorry, who said that?
John Tinker.
I'm sorry, who said that?
John Tinker. Oh yeah, I had the same reaction. Trust me, I had the same reaction. Yep.
Oh my word, that
Let's just say everybody was having a field day with that one on Instagram and Twitter.
Oh man,
that interview came out and he said that. A lot of people had a field day with that.
Oh man.
So
oh my word. I'm sorry. He is not a great showrunner. Like anything he does has ridiculous drama and like just stupid stuff that is not necessary. I'm sorry. He is just not good at that.
And he's the showrunner for this season. And I have to say he's doing a little bit better than he did in season 8, but there's still some things that I'm not really. Everything seems really choppy.
I think he tried too hard in season 8.
Yeah.
Per se. And he was like trying so hard to make it interesting that he dropped a bunch of stuff. He got too much on the pile and stuff was falling off because he was trying to put everything in it. But I'm sorry, he's just not. And I don't mean that, like, I'm sorry, y'all. I am a snob. Like, I mean, we talked about the Elvis thing earlier. I'm not the craziest about the song Jailhouse Rock, not because of the song, but because of how he's singing. Because as a singer, I'm hearing the rasp in his throat, and I'm like, you are killing your voice right there, dude. Like, that is all I hear when I'm hearing this song is like he's ruining his voice, So I'm a snob, okay? I'm sorry. Like I love Elvis songs. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad he learned how to sing properly. But I'm like, and I never claimed to be the best at anything, by the way. I'm as much of a snob.
You have more experience than a lot of other people because you've actually been on a film set. So you kind of, in a lot of ways, know a lot more than a lot of people do about how things work behind the scenes.
Right. But I'm sorry, when you just add unnecessary drama and everything else to something like this.
I mean,
everybody has their own
point. Let's just bring one point in that I am even angry about, and it has nothing to do with the triangle. Clara and Jesse fought pretty much the whole entire season of season 8.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make up until the finale, and they left.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not coming back.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying
like one of my favorite couples.
I'm not saying that's John Tinker's fault. That could very well be the actor's decision not to come back. We don't know.
Yeah.
But the thing is like you had them fight the entire season long.
Mm-hmm.
And they, then all of a sudden they're packing up their bags and they're leaving.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of other stuff that went down the black hole.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I just don't feel like John Tinker is a great.
He needs to just stick to writing. He's a great writer. But
yeah.
But as a showrunner, that's a totally different thing. It's a totally different job, I feel like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read through our notes, make sure we're not, Oh, I love the little bit where like Lee got so excited about the free ice cream and he starts walking up to go get an ice and like Rosemary pulls him back and like pats him on the stomach and he's like,
yeah,
like a little kid. I love that though.
Yeah. I loved when Elizabeth and Rosemary have their first scene together talking and
I loved it.
Elizabeth's like,
oh, we're talking about theater again.
Yeah. So we're back to Broadway shows. Yes. And how's Lee? Like Rosemary is definitely back to her old self this season, and I love it.
She is. Like she is full on theatrics.
Yes, it is adorable.
I love that. Let me make sure I've got everything.
I'm curious to see how long this episode has turned out because
I know, right?
I should have looked at the clock when we started recording, and
I know. You have it, like, quick note, you guys, like, used to, she would literally put a timer on. Wow, and
I
soon as
finally
we
gave up on that. Actually, it's only been maybe about an hour and a half.
Oh wow, I would have guessed at least 2. So I think we pretty much got everything.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think we pretty much got everything.
And guys, by the time this episode comes out, the 4th episode will have aired. We're gonna like release a couple episodes a week until we're caught up, and then move forward. But anyway, like we've always said, if you've made it this far, congratulations and thank you, because
and your prize is that you get to know that we will be recording.
Yeah.
Again. We've got the Feeling Butterflies movie featuring Kevin and Kayla on the dock. We of course got episode 2, episode 3, and of course eventually episode 4 to record also. Yeah. If you guys have any of the other movies that you guys want us to review that has any of the When Calls the Heart cast and crew, like I do want to do It Was Always You, because it's still my favorite song.
Yeah, that one is so stinky cute. I still want Tyler in Hope Valley.
I'm telling you guys, and we could probably make that happen since we're such good friends with Tyler.
You are. I didn't get that privilege. You did.
Hey, I can always randomly ask him if he wants to come on the podcast. I can say, hey, we're going to be doing a review on the It Was Always You cameo appearance. I would die. I would just like fall out.
Yeah. See, the thing is, she's in love with Kevin. I'm the one in love with Tyler over here. So she's the one saying she would be geeking out if Tyler was over.
I mean, it's still Tyler. Like, I love him too. Kevin's number 1 to me, and Tyler's number 2 for me. Whereas Tyler's number 1 for you, and Kevin's number 2 for you.
Yeah.
So like we just like,
Yeah. What was it, the text conversation we had the other night? And sorry, y'all, we need to like wrap this up and not just start off.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So mom said,
I texted you and said, I was like, can I please have Hickam? He's just so cute. And you text me back and said, Mom says yes, as long as she can have Gowan. And I said, tell her she's got a deal. And you said, great, that leaves Nathan for me. I was like, now we're all happy. Oh my gosh.
Unfortunately, I can't have Kevin, even though I'm very if I had to pick anyone else to have Kevin, I would pick Kayla. So I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyler's still single that we know of.
I still say somebody needs to kidnap him for me at what is it, Romacon or something, whatever it is they go to.
Yeah, I think Nicole and them are still going, so you might want to talk to them.
Nicole and Kristen and Casey and all them were like, yeah, just bring him up to Georgia.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
So yeah, let's see if I can make that happen with my little scissors.
Oh my gosh, this is not a good sign. Like, it is 10 o'clock.
If me and her are like giggling like this, we're hitting our delusion. Yeah, we're hitting our delusion peak that we would always get on lives.
Yeah, but the bad thing about it is it's like only 10 o'clock at night, and we still have a couple more episodes to record.
We got at least 2 more episodes to film.
So we need to finish this one and get off and get me some caffeine.
Yeah, I don't think this Dr. Pepper's cutting it. I'm probably fixing to get me a big old cup of coffee. Not even why.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we're officially back, guys.
Woohoo!
Illusions and all.
If you're around for this, you've obviously missed us. So you're welcome.
We love you.
Oh my word. We do love you guys.
Again, thank you. Ours and you picked this episode to be the first one you watch of us. I'm really sorry. But kudos to you for going all the way through it. It still counts if you press like the 10-second button to kind of like run through. We understand.
Okay, we seriously have got to cut this off.
Okay, I think we need to say bye.
We love you guys. We're gonna get up here and try to get ourselves together.
Oh, God. Okay. We love you.
We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.